Hello, I'm Alex Mansfield, the host of Manny Talks Shooting, and welcome to another episode. This is the shooting podcast where I talk to individuals all across the shooting industry. We'll talk competition, self-defense, concealed carry. If you like this content, check out our YouTube channel, Manny Talks Shooting. And without further ado, let's get to this episode. Welcome, everybody. Welcome back to another installment of Manny Talks Shooting, this shooting podcast that I do on the internet because I don't live close to any of these people's houses, so that's why it's on the internet. So
That's right.
we got to talk about the title sponsor of the podcast, Go Fast, Don't Suck. Go over and check them out for all your match jersey needs, your banners. If you're a match director, you want banners on your range, go check out Bill. Got great competitive pricing and new mesh banner material that is super safe. And it doesn't get beaten up in the wind because it is mesh and you can see through it a little bit. And you can see shooters behind it. So you don't have to worry about starting somebody and having somebody downrange. You never have to worry about that because you can see through it. Go check them out. GoFastDon'tSuck.net. Tell them Manny sent you. Move on with your day. Without further ado, I'm sitting down with my friend Alberto Colon. How you doing?
Hey,
buddy?
what's going on, dude?
Nothing much. It's been a interesting Sunday here. It is the 1st of October. If anyone actually cares when these get recorded, but we're sitting down and we're gonna have a good time. So, man, how are you? And how's your day been?
Dude, my day's been phenomenal. Went to the range this morning. First time I shot in about 3 weeks since nationals. Just start off the day good. Watch a little football today to relax and good workout. So, and now I get to talk to you. That's
Well,
awesome.
there you go. I mean, you got to watch football. You got to go to the range. I wish I was at the range. That didn't happen for me, but it's all good. So, Alberto, for the people who don't know you and need to know you, who are you and how did you get into shooting?
All right. Well, my name is Alberto Colon. I'm 39 years old. I currently reside here in Tampa, Florida. And how did I get into shooting? Let me drink some little bit of water. I'll get into that. Hmm. So first of all, I grew up in a household where there's no firearms or anything like that. First time I ever shot a firearm was in the Army, actually. So in 2004, that's when I joined the Army and basic training and stuff like that. But actually getting into pistol shooting was in 2008. So when I was stationed in Fort Richardson, Alaska, and my platoon sergeant at the time was named Brad Brenner, and he's a funny dude. We used to call him a GW8, so it was like Great White Hunter. So this guy, all he talked about was killing deer. I don't know why that was his infatuation to kill deer. It's so funny because like he had a lifted Dodge diesel pickup truck, and inside he had one of those bobble deers, and like he was really into it. So, anyways, all he talked about was like 1911s and stuff like that while we were deployed to Iraq, and it just kept mumbling about pistols and stuff, and it really got me interested in the Plains Patrol. And so after that deployment, that's when I got a gun, and my first gun was a Kemmer Raptor 2 45 automatic Colt pistol. And I bought it in Alaska, and then I started shooting out there. It wasn't really like USPSA or IDPA. It was just basically plinking and stuff like that. But I shot at the Birchwood Range out there. Once I left there, I went to Fort Bragg, North Carolina. And if you were in the military, there's a cost of living allowance. So I lost a lot of money, and I couldn't really afford to do anything but just be a soldier. So from there, didn't shoot for many years until 2020 happened. And 2020 happened. Well, you know what happened. There's just a lot of craziness in this world where people were fighting over toilet paper and stuff like that. And I was like, all right, I need to get back into shooting guns.
Mm-hmm.
And basically, I started arming myself. And I was like, all right, I need some training, right? So obviously, we do what everyone else does: is get on YouTube and start looking at videos and stuff like that. And I stumbled upon like the TRX arm stuff. So I thought it was pretty cool. Like that, what was his Lucas Pockets, right? Something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and he started shooting rifles and full kit and stuff. Really got my attention. So started watching his videos and stuff. Started dry firing and all that. And then after months, within 2020, I was like, all right, I need some like actual training. Rifle stuff, not so much. I got the kind of hang of it. I'm not a pro at it. Some more pistol stuff. And there was a video with Joe Farwell in there. And Joe Farwell lives here in Florida. I think it was Lake Wells. And I was like, oh, he's only an hour away. So let me look him up real quick. And then he had a class for like a low light defensive pistol class. So, I want to do that. So signed up for the class, went to the class, and it's pretty cool the way he set it up. It's 8-hour class. So the first 4 hours starts at noon. So from 12 to 4, you do everything in the daylight, trigger prep and all the stuff you need to do to shoot at night. And then we took like a quick lunch, and then it was dark. And then you draw pistols at night, turn on flashlights. And I thought it was a really cool experience. But at the end of the class, he built a stage. And I was like, hey, what is this? He's like, oh, this is like competition shooting, like USPSA and stuff. Oh, really? And then we shot a stage at the end of the match using flashlights at night. it was really cool, and that really got my interest up. So from there, I asked him, "Hey, do you offer any more classes?" So yeah, if you want to, you could go into USPSA just blind if you wanted to, but I have a beginner competition level class, so I decided to sign up for that. Took the class. It goes over the rules, basic stuff, how to stage plan, just really basic stuff that you need for your first match. And then took the class, got hooked on USPSA, and then my first match was like an outlaw match. It was May 12th, 2021. And then from there, got hooked and just kept going.
Wow, that is a long but detailed intro of how you really got into shooting, which is cool. I didn't know you were in Alaska. Well, but first, thank you for your service.
Thank you.
But that's kind of cool. Getting to Alaska, you're shooting up at what in Birchwood, you said, right? At that
Mm-hmm.
range. So just plinking around. That's no, I don't even know if he was probably making steel at the time, but that's where Jason Wood is out of.
That's a
Uh,
Target USA guy, right?
yep.
Yeah, I have one of his swingers.
Yeah. Ooh, is it a holy monkey swinger or just a regular swinger?
No, no, regular swinger. No, I'm not going to set up a holy monkey swinger for practice.
Hey, you
No,
never,
no way.
right?
That's a
But
lot. Yeah, that's too much to practice on. So,
so I guess
but
the first thing I want to deep delve into is, did you choose Alaska or is that just where they stationed you?
all right. So this is a story by itself too. So, you have in the army, you have basic training and advanced individual training. So I was a construction equipment operator, and anyways, Fort Leonard, Missouri, and my whole class got their orders. Everyone was going to Fort Bragg, Campbell, all these places, and I'm literally the last one to get orders. And I'm like, hey, what's going on here? Like, where am I going? And then finally, like literally 5 days before we graduated, he's like, "Yep, you're going to Alaska." And I was like, "What? You want? I'm going to Alaska? I'm from Florida. Like, there's no snow in Florida." And then I was like, "Well, this isn't going to be too bad because I like the cold, right? Well, Florida cold at least." And get my orders, and then for after AIT, you go back home for a little bit, take a little leave, be with your family, and then from there you go to your first duty station. So, and
Mhm.
then I flew from Tampa, Florida, to St. Louis, Missouri, then St. Louis to how to fly to Chicago, and then Chicago into Anchorage, Alaska. And let me tell you something. What a shock that I get because I had this like little jacket on, and the second I got out of that airport, I froze to death.
Mhm.
Like literally, like that Alaska cold is cold. Like it was negative 20 degrees that day. And I was like, oh my God. So I took a cab, went straight to the base, signed in and stuff. And I was like, dude, how am I going to do this for 4 years or 3 years or whatever, how long I'm going to be up here. But they'll give you gear and stuff. They stay warm and stuff like that. But it was definitely a shell shock. And by the way, they don't close anything up there for snow or ice. Like,
Mhm.
and I was stationed in Fort Bragg, North Carolina as well. And there, if there's an inch of snow on the ground, they close everything down. Over there, literally feet of snow.
Oh
And
yeah.
nope, business goes on. So I was like, all right, let's go.
Yeah, that's well. And plus, you're living on base. You really don't have a way to get personally around, but you don't have to leave anywhere
Oh,
either. So.
well, yeah, I'm a bit of an adventure guy, so I'll like to leave the base if I can. But it was pretty cool, like walk into the shopette. That's what we call it. It's like a little gas station with beer and stuff.
Hmm.
Walk through the snow, grab 2 cases of beer, walk right back.
Yep.
So, oh yeah.
But yeah. Now, how long of your deployment were you actually in Alaska then?
So I was in the Army for 9 years.
Hmm.
So I was in 4 years in Alaska and then 5 at Fort Bragg, North Carolina.
Okay.
Hmm.
And then I'm assuming you said you went to Iraq. So were you in Alaska then went to Iraq or?
No, so here's the funny story behind all that too. So
Hmm.
I got to my duty station, and actually, this is a little personal story, but I don't care. I care to share it.
Hmm.
So I get to my duty station, fresh private out of basic training AIT. Get to my duty station, and I was assigned to this unit, and I was the new guy. So they like to mess with the new guys a lot. And anyways, um, I didn't shave one night. Oh, in the army, you shave all the time. Like you have to constantly shave, and it really bothered me in the morning because it just burned my face. Because you shave and then you go do PT. PT is physical training, and then you sweat, burns, stuff like that. So they were like, "Hey, you can shave at night." So I did, and then the next day it looks like I had a shadow information, and then we had a shaving inspection, and sure enough, the first sergeant did not like that, which was unfortunate. And then I had to start doing push-ups, and then it told my squad leader. My squad leader told my team leader, "Say take care of it." So okay, so And the team leader was like, "You better meet me in the middle of the barracks at 7:50." Blah 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 blah. I said, "Okay, no worries." So the next day comes, shave 7:50. You go see him. He didn't show up. I'm like, "All right, what's going on here? We're supposed to go in this newcomers briefing and all that." He didn't show up. Bother to show up. So, anyways, end up going to newcomers briefing, and then this guy's all pissed off because we didn't see him in the motor pool. So that's a completely different location. And I said, "Well, wait a minute. You told us you're going to meet us here. Oh, I don't. You think I'm going to fucking find you? Blah blah blah." And I said, "You're mine, boy." I'm like, "Oh, all right, here we go." By the way, this is like really hazing stuff. So he had like staff duty on a Thursday or whatever, was basically his 24-hour duty, and we had to go see him, and it was a smoke session. A smoke session is when you physical training to like for discipline, and he smoked us pretty damn good. It,
Hmm.
it really messed me up a lot, and it was to the point I couldn't walk. And it was purposely done. It was a setup. Because the next day we had a battalion run in the snow and ice for 7 miles, and yep. So I had sore legs going into a battalion run in the snow and ice I've never done before in my life, and I was falling out of that run. I was getting yelled at, getting pushed. I said, "Dude, it's almost impossible to do this." Got it done. I was exhausted, and then the next day when I got on my bed, I couldn't move my legs. Like literally, they were so stiff. They had so much amino acids in them. I just couldn't bend them or anything like that. Didn't really pay too much mind attention. I was like, all right, maybe it's just overexertion. It'll go away. Drink a lot of water, and then later on that day, I used the bathroom and I urinated, and pee didn't look like pee. It looked like Coca Cola. And yeah, that's crazy, right? So I was freaking out. I was like, what is this? And I said, oh, well, we'll try one more other day. Next day comes around, same thing, legs are stiff, still pissing out Coca Cola color, and my kidneys hurt. So at the time, I called my parents, I called my mom, and said, hey, I'm not feeling too good. What do you think I should do? So you need to go to the hospital. So I called one of my squad members, one of the squad mates, and said, hey, man, I need to go to the hospital, emergency room. I'm just not right. So I go to the emergency room, and quickly they diagnosed me as I have rhabdomyolysis. And rhabdomyolysis is when you extremely break down the muscles in a very fast period of rate with a bunch of amino acids, and you can cause kidney failure because of that. And basically, the physician assistant at the time said if I didn't go to the hospital right then and there, I would have had kidney failure.
Hmm.
So it was pretty
Oof, that
crazy. Yeah.
that
So
definitely does not sound fun.
no, not at all. Yeah. Welcome to Alaska. Welcome to the army.
Right?
So literally. So that week was, unfortunately, the following week was Thanksgiving. So I was in the hospital for an entire week of Thanksgiving, and it was very miserable knowing that I had a family and stuff like that, and I was just alone in this Arctic place in a hospital for a week because I have some weird thing going on with me that I don't even know, and it was pretty tough. So I was in a hospital for a week. Finally, they put enough fluids and IVs in me to flush all the system out, and I was discharged from the hospital and went back to my unit. And again, more harassment. It was like, "Oh, you're worthless. We got a dud." I'm like, "Are you kidding me? You guys did this to me. Like I didn't do anything wrong." So I ended up going for basically I was supposed to deploy with them in Afghanistan right away. I was put in the rear detachment unit. They ended up leaving, and I ended up staying behind because they were thinking I was going to get discharged from the military because I had a muscle disorder or something like that. So, anyways, I was
Hmm.
in rear detachment. My unit was downrange in Afghanistan at the time. This is 2005, and I was like, all right. I was sitting there. I was like, what am I going to do? I'm not a quitter. I'm not going back home empty-handed. Like I want to deploy. So started seeing this doctor up there, and she was a female Air Force doctor, and then I was like, hey, listen, so what's the deal? It's, oh, well, you got to keep seeing me, see if you have any muscle diseases that can cause this. It's like, all right, well, how do we know 100% sure that this is it? Like no, like I have it or not. She said, well, you need a muscle biopsy. I said, okay, when can I do this? Oh, and she scheduled an appointment, and there's a nice scar on my leg from that, and they took a piece of muscle tissue, they dyed it and stuff to see what's in it, and it came out clear. So all right, you're clear
Hmm.
to go. I said, all right, perfect. So they say send me downrange as fast as you can. So I healed up enough, and I went down there. And the funny thing is, the motherfucker that sorry, I'm cursing now. The fucker that said that smoked me and put me in the situation. He was the first face I saw when I got to Afghanistan, and I was like, I'm here. So that was like one of the biggest moments in my life. I was like, yeah, you can't bring me down. Like I will fight back. So finished out the deployment with the unit. That was my first deployment. And then we came back, and I end up gaining his respect, even though I still don't respect him to this day because of what he did. But um, I took big pride in that. It's like, hey, what you did was wrong, but I'm still here. I'm a tough guy. So that was a big test of resiliency for myself in my life, and I just look back at it every day. It's like there's a scar on my leg. I look at, and it's like if anything's down in my life, I look at that. It's like, hey, this is what I had to do to stay in and to deploy. So I did it.
Hmm. And
Hmm.
that's a big hurdle to have to deal with. You're in the cold alone in Alaska, and then you're like, well, going to Afghanistan now. We're gonna flip polar opposites to the hottest place on the planet, right?
I
and
know.
then and then
Well,
the first person you see is that guy, right?
oh yeah, that guy. Oh yeah, screw that guy. But hey, I wish him the best. God bless him. Either what he did was wrong, but we're all humans, and hopefully he learns from his mistakes. But you know what?
Hmm.
We become better, especially men. The more
Hmm.
diversity we go through, and we succeed, it just builds up our character, and that was a good lesson in that in my life
Hmm. Oh,
for sure,
100%. Yeah.
100%.
Well, and you stayed in. You obviously was your initial enlistment 9 years, or did you sign up for a second stint? Because.
Oh yeah, so I re-enlisted. All right, so let's get into that part.
Hmm.
So originally it was 4 years, and it was right before we deployed to Iraq. So I had two deployments in Alaska and one deployment at Fort Bragg, North Carolina.
Hmm.
So on my before my second deployment, and I was like, all right, I really like the Army at that given time. I was a sergeant. I got promoted a couple of times. I really like leading soldiers. And I'm sitting here thinking, I said, all right, so we're on the global war on terrorism. There's conflicts in Iraq. There's conflicts in Afghanistan. We are in 14 different countries. Who knows how long this is going to end? And when I joined, there was a lot of people getting called up at inactive reserves.
Hmm.
And when they, basically is you're already out, but you owe Uncle Sam. All right. So how it works is when you sign up for you enlist in the military, you have 8 years.
Hmm.
So you can do 4 years active duty, for instance, and then the remaining stint that you have is you're in inactive reserves. So what it is like if they need your MOS, they're going to call you back up. Your MOS is your military occupation specialty, your job. So if they need you, they will call you back. And at the time, they were calling people left and right up. So, and I was sitting there, it's like, all right, I need to control my destiny here. So, do I want to get called back up out of nowhere where I had a job, a career, or going to school, or do I want to just stay in the Army and see how far this can go and go from there? So, I had 3.5 years in, and I signed up for additional 6. So that will
Hmm.
put me over the 8 year hurdle, and it was like 9.5 years. It was
Hmm.
pretty cool. My reenlistment ceremony was on top of a mountain, so
That's pretty dope. Not gonna
hmm
lie, that's pretty
it
cool.
pretty cool. I mean, I wish I had pictures of it, but basically, like I was on top of a summit, and you see all the clouds and stuff. It was pretty cool. I was like, all right, if I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna hike up this mountain first, and if I get to the top, I'll do it. And it worked out. So.
Hmm. It's pretty baller. Not gonna lie on that one.
hmm and then I told myself I deploy. I reenlisted. I was like, after this deployment, I want to get the hell out of Alaska. I want a challenge. So I
Hmm.
requested Fort Bragg, North Carolina.
Hmm. Now, what made you why was that a challenge? So why would you think North Fort Bragg was a challenge,
Oh, well,
and
it's the
why'd you
home
want to
of
go there?
it's the home of special operations and airborne divisions. I mean,
Hmm.
airborne divisions are probably ruffle some feathers here because I'm a paratrooper and I'm a jump master
Hmm.
myself. So you know, there's just very alpha minded mentality. A lot about winning. That
Hmm.
whole area is about. I don't know how it is now because there's some stuff that's been going on, whatever. But um, it's a very winner's mentality. Like you at Fort Bragg, you're going to win. Everyone has their alphas, and they just is about the mission. And that's what I wanted to be. I didn't want to be in conventional units anymore. I wanted to be in a light airborne unit. So, and I did it the hard way too. So what most people, I wasn't airborne qualified at first. So most
Hmm.
people, what they'll do is they'll PCS there, which is permanent change of station to another unit, and they'll do like airborne school in a route. Well, I did the absolute worst thing you could do. You could go into an airborne unit as a leg and as a non-commissioned officer too. So I was a sergeant that was non-airborne qualified going to an airborne unit, and that's extremely frowned upon. They
Mm-hmm.
don't like legs. I don't. A leg is a non-airborne qualified personnel. A leg means you go into battle on your feet. That's what it means.
Right.
So I get the Fort Bragg, and I get the same treatment I got in Alaska right off the rip. Come here,
Mm-hmm.
sergeant. Blah 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 blah. Like, here we go. It was a first sergeant this time, just tearing me up a new asshole, saying just basically saying I'm nobody. And said, all right, here we go. We'll do this again, and got smoked again as a NCO this time, and it was quite a. It wasn't embarrassing. I was like, I get it. It's just a game, and I had a hit list on my back until I went to airborne school, which I wanted to go anyways. So, but quickly earned the respect of my men. And then before I went to airborne school, became airborne qualified. Then finally went to jump school, became airborne qualified, and came back to the unit. So, and I did it the hard way, but I think I did it the more respectful. In my opinion, I think I did it the right way because you're a leg. It's like a baptism, pretty much. Sorry, not religion, but you get indoctrinated into the system. So
Right. Trial by fire kind of aspect, right? You
trial by
gotta.
fire, yeah. Hmm.
Yeah. So, but so that's pretty. You say you earn the respect to your men, and you finish out your deployment in Fort Bragg. Um, Now, with your stint in there, did you have any really cool memories of while you're
Oh,
at Fort Bragg?
oh yeah, I love Fort Bragg, man.
Mm-hmm.
Love those guys are they're best friends forever, man. A lot of my friends now are sergeant majors now,
Mm-hmm.
first sergeants, high ranking individuals. A lot of the guys who got decided to get out, they're very successful. I have a friend of mine, a really good friend of mine. He's in the appliance repair business, but he's making a killing in California. So he's always busy. You'd be surprised how many microwaves and dishwashers and washing machines break. And so there's
Mm-hmm.
always and he has that mindset like that, like an engineer mindset. So he can fix that. But he's one of the best soldiers I've ever had. Um, his name is Sergeant Strader, really cool guy, one of my best friends. So, but Fort Bragg, yeah, stories. There's plenty of those. But I'll give you one real quick. So I'm a senior rated jump master, and that was a cool school, by the way, to do. And at the time, we were chasing jumps. Well, if you wanted to jump, you could jump. And it was like, hey, we need some guys to fill some chutes in this unit. I said, sure, I'll jump with them. Why not? And I said, you know what? I'm going to jump combat equipment without a 1950s weapons case. So you have a weapons case that you can put your M4 in it and drop that as well. But I say, no, I'm going to just do light Hollywood, which is basically just an Alice pack between your legs with the H harness. And I said,
Mm-hmm.
all right, there's a reason why you have to put 35 pounds in there. And me being stupid, I was like, screw it. I'm not, because you're in the C-130 hooked up with the static line, and you don't want to be hunched over trying to carry this weight. So I was like, screw it. I'm going to put pillows in there and put like maybe 20 pounds or 15 pounds. Bad idea. So what happens is when you jump out of a high performance aircraft, right, and you jump out the parachute door. So I was on the primary jump master side, which is if you're in an airplane, so this is like the cockpit in the front and you're in the back, it'll be the left side. So, but if
Mm-hmm.
you jump out, you actually jump out it feels like the right. So, anyways, I'm jumping, boom, hand my sand line off, I come out, and what happens is you kick your leg up, and then the prop blast pushes you out to a 45-degree angle, and you go down, and the chute opens up. Well, when I came out, the rucksack was too light, and it acted like a rudder. So the air hit it. I flipped in my riser while the parachute was opening. So I had a partial opening, and my feet were in the riser assembly, I was falling upside down. Yeah. By the way, like when you jump on Fort Bragg, it's 800 feet
Mm-hmm.
AGL. So it takes about
Mm-hmm.
we were jumping T10 deltas at a time. So I want to say it was like 275 feet when the parachute fully opened. So now you 800 minus that number. That's how much feet you got left to the ground, and there's a partial opening. So now
Mm-hmm.
you're really descending, and I'm upside down. It's dark. It's night. I was like, what am I gonna do? And I was like, I stayed calm. I said, all right, I gotta, you know what, screw it. Pop the reserve, right? Nope. That thing popped out and it just didn't do anything. I was like, all right, I'm fucked. What am I gonna do here? So I was
Mm-hmm.
like, all right, you know what? Let me untangle myself. And I had plenty of time to untangle myself. And I flipped in my riser. So now my feet are pointing to the ground. And the rucksack's down there too. I said, all right, cool. And I saw the ground coming really, really fast. I said, all right, brace for impact. I grabbed all the risers as simple as I can and I did a standing landing pretty much, but in sand. And let me tell you something, that hurts. A
Mm-hmm.
standing landing is not what you want to do. What you do is parachute is land and fall. Basically, you're going to land feet, and it's like you roll off like that. Well, I
Mm-hmm.
did this, boom, and then dropped. And I had all 185 pounds of myself at the time right on my feet. But luckily, I landed in the sand. I sat at the ground for a second. And I was like, oh my God, that hurt. And I was like, I felt my legs and didn't break anything. I said, all right, cool, I'm good. And then I stood up. I was like, all right, I feel fine. Man, the next day, terrible. Every muscle in my body was so sore because I absorbed the impact of that landing. And I was like this, oh, like an old man. Now I'm a staff sergeant at this time. And I go into like the med station, right? Which is like basically where all the, your paramedics, the battalion surgeons there and all that. I go in there and some dumb medic is like, oh, what are you doing here? I said, how come you didn't see the medical person on the drop zone? I said, listen here, dude. One, I'm a staff sergeant. You're a specialist. We're not going to play this rank game. Go give me the PA right now. And I know the
Mm-hmm.
PA, which is the physician assistant. He comes over, hey, Sergeant Cole, what's up? I say, hey, man, I don't want no sick call. I don't want no, piece of paper saying I can't do anything. This is what's happening to me right now. What do I need? Oh, I'll get you some muscle relaxers. Here you go. And he gave it to me. I said, all right, thanks, Doc. Boom, popped them, drank water, and I was loose. I was like, all right, good to go. And then on to bigger and better things. So,
Mm-hmm. That's a story. So next time, so you always tell everybody put 35 pounds in your in your.
oh, dude, yeah. Oh, after that it was like, no, fuck it. Full of 40, 50, 60. I don't care because it's worth it. You don't want to
Mm-hmm.
flip your risers. But hey, I was a jump master at the time. I was fresh jump master. I learned something new. I was like, all right, cool. That now I know why you put 35 pounds in there.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
That's
so
pretty
uh,
legit.
another story I have was really cool.
Mm-hmm.
Right before I left the army, so I was with my unit for a while, but then I decided not to re-enlist and signed a declaration of continuous service statement, basically saying I'm out. And they transferred me from my unit to battalion. So I worked in the S3 shop, which is operations, and I was the airborne non-commissioned officer in charge. So me and a captain worked together. It was pretty awesome. We did airborne operations all the time. So, anyways, you do this job's called Drop Zone Safety Officer, and it was an AWAS jump. An AWAS jump is Adverse Weather Aerial Delivery System. So basically, it's like think of it. You look at it looks like fog, right, on the ground level. So about 50 feet off the ground is all fog. It's cloud cover, right? And you need you need an Air Force JTAC present while you're the drop zone safety officer because they're the ones that call the aircraft in during that to use that system. So
Mm-hmm.
it was a Sicily drop zone, Fort Bragg, and it was two passes of two C-17s. The first pass was all heavy equipment, and the second pass was 50 packs, was 50 personnel jumping out of the aircraft. So this is
Mm-hmm.
hilarious. I actually got the video of this, but it's in my phone. And anyways, so the first pass comes around, there's all the heavy equipment, and what you listen for is, the equipment comes down. There were Humvees, a lot of engineer equipment, and they have parachutes. So what you hear is like a nice little thud, like doop, doop, when they hit the ground. And you're like, okay, cool. You don't want to hear a crash. When you hear a crash, that's bad. That means the parachute did not deploy, or you had a serious malfunction. So, you heard it drop. So, doo, 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 and you hear, oh, boom, and you're like, I just went and got like this. I used to smoke back then, so I lit up a cigarette, and I was like, this is gonna be a long day. So the second pass came around was all the packs, and as soon as the packs came out, I went out to the drop zone, and I found it. It was a Humvee that crashed in on a pallet, and it was completely mangled. It dropped upside down and just gone. It was just completely disintegrated. I mean, you're talking about 1,250 feet, and the Humvee weighed what 5, 6,000, 7,000 pounds, and terminal velocity. Well, you do the math. There was nothing left, and I
Mm-hmm.
was like, it's a long day because the reason why it's a long day is because whenever you have an incident like that on a drop zone, you got to get hazmat involved. You got to get the whole range involved. Like you have to get the riggers involved because the riggers are the ones that like put the parachutes on that contraption. So it was really interesting. I got to meet the 2-star general of the 82nd Airborne Division. Uh, yeah, I was like, "What happened?" I was like, "Well, we had to burn it. I don't know what to tell you. Like, I don't rig this shit." So comes to find out it was a rigging error. And basically there's a joint inspection on the aircraft with the riggers and the Air Force loadmaster. And what it is a you ever seen parachuters cord before? Like, it's 550 cord. You ever
Mm-hmm.
seen that? Yeah, you see
Yep.
those bracelets and stuff. Yeah, so it's a safety cord that's 550 cord, and it's supposed to be replaced with quarter-inch cotton webbing. So a quarter-inch cotton webbing has a tensile strength of 40 foot-pounds. So as soon as the parachute opens, it breaks in and then takes everything out. 550 cord is different. So the reason why it's 550 cord is each little individual white strand is a tensile strength of 550 foot-pounds. So you have that tied up, nothing's gonna break that. And I have a video of it on my phone. It's pretty cool. Well, looking back at it now, it is. So
Mm-hmm.
the Humvee did not deploy, so that you see the aircraft pitch up and then dump the load out. So I was like, oh, that's what happens.
Mm-hmm. That could definitely sounds like a long day, correct? Because you got to deal with everybody. You got to clean up the mess. Someone's got to clean up the mess.
Oh yeah, a lot of coordination. Well, my job was pretty easy. It was just don't leave the drop zone and make sure everybody got to do what they got to do. But it was 36 hours, and after that, I was really tired. You know, it was really
Mm-hmm.
funny because there was 3 stints in my military career was 36 hours, and it was that's the longest I could stay up.
Mm-hmm.
After 36, I'm done.
Yeah. I,
Mm.
I I I don't even think I don't even want to think I want to could go 24, but that's because
No,
I don't
dude,
have
it's
to.
well, I mean, you have a lot of adrenaline going on when stuff like that happens. You're like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
and then, but when I was done, it was a wrap, dude. I went back to my apartment and it was just like, oh, thank God. But it was supposed to be easy, like 6, 7 hour day, and ended up being 36. So,
Oof. Yeah. That's
hmm
no bueno.
no bueno at all, man. No bueno.
Right. So I guess we should probably bring this back into shoot. These are some really cool stories, and I
Yeah, yeah.
appreciate these.
Oh, yeah. No worries. Yeah.
So you get out of the army. You
hmm
know, you go back to Florida because you're from Florida, right?
Yep.
And then so what,
So
you get
there's like a.
out what?
All
Did you
right.
get
Yeah.
out what?
So
Roughly 2013, 2014 ish time frame.
2013 to 20, yeah, so there's 7 years of a break. So yeah, so I get out of the army, and then while I was getting out, I was like, what do I want to do with my life? And I sit there and
Mm-hmm.
thinking, it's like, there's only two things that really interest me at the time, and that was medical stuff and work on cars, like mechanical stuff. So I looked
Mm-hmm.
at both career fields. I was like, all right, what's going to take the least amount of time to make X amount of money? And I'm looking at both ends of the spectrum here. So I was like, I could be an RN and all this and the amount of schooling, or I could take a technical school route and learn theory and operation on working on cars and start working from the bottom up. And then I'm like, oh, well, this is a faster career route. And the best part about my field is nobody wants to do it. So there's a
Mm-hmm.
big exodus of people that just don't want to get greasy and money and stuff like that. So all right, cool. So I 2014, 13, I got out and went to school over
Mm-hmm.
here in Orlando, Florida. It was a University Technical Institute. Went there, started working on, it was really cool school because you learn about theories and operations of certain things on the car. So like, learn how electricity flows, how transmissions work, and stuff like that. It was really cool, and did the whole program. And there was a BMW program there, and I signed up for it, and got accepted and did the program, and I was after I was done with school, then started working in a BMW dealership. So that's what I do for a living. I'm a BMW master technician. Worked for dealerships for many years. 2019, I decided to get away from the dealership area and start working for an independent shop here in South Tampa, in Tampa, Florida. So, and all we do is work on the ultimate driving machine and Mercedes as well. And we range from vintage cars to the latest and greatest. So,
Mm-hmm.
and so
That's
if you
pretty cool.
fall, yeah,
Go
if you
ahead.
follow me on my Instagram, you see me post like a cool old BMW here, stuff like that. So we got really good clientele here. So
Right. Well, especially being in Florida, you got all them snowbirds who still who don't care. They just drive whatever they want, and if it's in Florida, there's no rust, so you can't really worry about that.
oh no, yeah, dude, I don't know how some of those people do it. Honestly, like what is it, Tanful Timmy? He lives in Minnesota or something like that, or in Matt
Mm-hmm.
Hempel. Those guys are
Yeah.
mechanics and they have rust buckets they gotta do. It's like, dude, God bless you guys. I can't do that. You'd be using
Right.
torches all day trying to do the simple job. hmm
Yeah. It definitely it sucks being up here where they use salt on the roads. It's terrible. It's
hmm
terrible. Absolutely
It's
terrible.
terrible. Yeah, so let's get back to the shooting part. So 2020 happens. Yeah, took the farewell class, started shooting USPSA, and then My first match, like level one match, was June 20th. Was it? Yeah, June 20th, 2020. No, yeah, June 20th, 2021. It was at
Mm-hmm.
Guncraft in Ruskin, Florida, and it was a small match, 50 people, and shot the match, and I saw open gun go bang. I said, "Oh,
Mm-hmm.
what is that?" I said, "That's an open division gun." I said, "All right, what is that? Like a 2011?" I said, "Yeah." And it was Kyle Stevens. He was shooting Axiom custom guns at the time, and I saw that. I was like, "Dude, I want one of those." So when I started shooting USPSA, I shot a Glock 34, and
Mm-hmm.
that's where I started at. And I was like, "I want an open gun." So shot for another month or two, and I made a decision. Let me reach out to Axiom Custom Guns, see if they could build me a gun. And he's out of here, Wesley Chapel. He no longer builds guns anymore. Art Jensen's a nice guy. Went up there, talked to him for about 4 hours. He's cool. He's a mechanic as well. So we had a pretty similar background, and I put a deposit for open gun, and then I kept shooting carry optics until a gun was ready, and he had another one that was available that I could purchase, and I decided to shoot that one first. It was a 38 Super Cop gun. Shot that for a while, for about a year and a half, and then earlier this year, my 9mm major gun was ready. Got that up and running, and that's why I shoot now. So
Mm-hmm. That's pretty cool. It's unfortunate to hear good builders like that just not building guns anymore, unfortunately. But
I
you got to do
completely,
it.
yeah, I'm sorry to cut you off, but I completely understand what he was talking about. He's
Mm-hmm.
in a machining business right now that is very profitable, makes some good money, and yeah, when you spend like a lot, like 100, he explained to me, it's like 100 hours on a gun, and that same 100 hours machining is thousands of dollars in versus 7 grand or 8 grand or
Oh yeah,
whatever how
yeah.
much. Yeah, it's just the
The
profit
money,
margins are bigger.
yeah, the money in machining either for the auto space, the aerospace, wherever they're doing it for is like there's real money there and compared to building guns. So.
Oh man, you should see some of those contracts. I was like, wow, that's impressive. I mean, granted, a good chunk of it is the material, but just the
Mm-hmm.
simple fact that if you that's the way to go right now is manufacturing. If you have money and to buy a CNC machine and no CAD drawings, that's the way to go, man. You just
Mm-hmm.
literally get the design, you touch up a couple things in the coding, and put in that machine and hit enter, and then just starts cutting machine, and you just pay attention to what comes out of it. So
Mm-hmm.
it is a high
Absolutely.
demand for that stuff. High demand.
Mm-hmm. So you switched over from carry optics shooting the Glock 34 to the open gun. How big of a transition was that for you then?
Oh my goodness, that was huge, dude. Because all right, the reason why it was huge is because obviously carry optic, they don't shoot as fast, they don't lock back as an open gun does. You shoot open too, so you went the
Mm-hmm.
same route I did. So you shot a
Yeah.
Glock and you go to open gun. So and it's like, oh wow, like I don't have to wait for the gun. It just the dot's there. It's like, and then I was like, oh, I got to go faster than the gun's making me go fast. So started shooting open, and I was like, okay, cool. And then the first couple of times I shot it, it was big learning curve. So I was like, wow, like there's a lot more in play in open division than I thought. So grip really does matter. Trigger control really matters, and whatever you see, that dot's going there, and you pull the trigger correctly, there will be a hit. So huge learning curves. I learned a lot about magazines at the time. Decided to buy some
Mm-hmm.
brand new MBXs at the time, and all these malfunctions were coming around. So, oh yeah, you got to tune a magazine. So I have to learn about that. Main thing is learning, maintenance on the gun. I'm pretty well with that. So people say open division is Formula One. I will agree to that to a certain extent, except for I think it's more top field drag racing.
Mm-hmm.
So, if you see top fuel drag racers after each pass, they rip the engine all the way apart, they put it back together, and then do it again. So, open's very similar to that. I treat it like that at least. So, after every match, I don't do a thorough, like, complete breakdown of the gun, but I break it down to the point where I inspect components and then I clean it really well, put it back together, lube it up, and then ready to go. I don't want to
Mm-hmm.
be that guy that clack clack and then crack slide, or my firing pin breaks because I didn't inspect it, or my gun has 2,000 rounds through it, and then the clunk just finally slow down the slide speed. Yeah, I always want to be ready. So I'm more of an equipment guy. Make sure my gear is squared away so we won't have those issues.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, making sure your gear works is half of the battle. And even now, some of these carry optics guns are getting so finicky that they have to do the same things we do as an open shooter.
Yeah,
I get
yeah.
very lucky because, well, I don't know. I shoot 3N38 powder out of my 9 major
Mm.
gun, and it's fairly clean. I can't complain on that part, but I still got to clean it every once in a while.
Oh yeah, dude. I mean, yeah. I will say this. People. I clean my gun after every match. That's what I do.
Hmm.
Also, you don't have to just maintain a maintenance schedule. So if you do that and just stick to it, I see you won't have any problems with it. But
Hmm.
there's some people that jump into open division and they think it's a carry optics gun, and it's not. You really have to treat her like a Ferrari sometimes.
Oh well, yeah, 100%.
Mhm.
I learned that somewhat the hard way, but yeah, you definitely got to maintain your things.
Maintain it in oil too, for sure.
Yeah. Now, do you just take motor oil from the BMWs and just sprinkle it on your gun?
No, no, no. I wish. Actually, yeah, it'd be free because I get it for free. So, no, I mean you can use motor oil. I think the McLaren does that. So
Hmm.
the McLaren guns. He's like, yeah, just use
Yeah.
10W40. I'm like, yeah. Well, I use the Lucas oil. Works really
Hmm.
well. Yeah, it gets over the optic all the time, but the lubrication works. I've tried the blue loop stuff, and he does a really good product as well. I found a mixture of that and the Lucas oil works pretty well on my gun. So,
Hmm.
my guns are pretty
Yeah.
tight. Hmm.
Mhm. I just had to bust your balls because you work for BMWs. Like, knowing him, you'd probably be like, yep, let's just dunk this gun in some motor oil. We'll be
Yeah, they're
okay.
just dumping in there like a Dunkin' Donut and coffee. Yeah, it'll run. It'll run. It'll run.
Right. No, but that's pretty cool. Now, you said you've got a 9 major and a 38 super comp, correct?
Oh yeah, yep, I have two. So, you know, what is it? You gonna ask me which one's better? I guess you could
Well,
say,
no,
or
but so is that a pain in the butt because do you load ammo for the 38 and for the 9? Well, so
actually,
the
I
trick here
don't.
is,
Oh yeah,
okay, go
yeah,
ahead.
yeah. So I only load the 9 major stuff because I have a press and the 38 Super Comp stuff. I buy it brand new, but I don't shoot
Hmm.
currently right now. I'm not shooting that gun, so I only
Hmm.
shoot 9 major. That's it. The only reason why I have the 38 Super Comp gun is because my 9 major gun wasn't ready, and it was up for sale. And it's like, hey, get you in the game quicker. It's like, all right, cool. Let me get this 30 Super Comp gun. Start shooting it, just to get an open division faster. That's all it was. Yeah, I do miss shooting it. It's a different recoil impulse. It's a little softer shooting in a way, but it doesn't lock back as fast as the 9 major gun does. So, in my opinion.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Right.
And 9 major, and obviously the components to find 9 major are a lot easier than 38 Super Comp. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Definitely don't have
brass.
to buy brand new brass.
Yeah, that is. Well, I always shot brand new brass, anyways. 30 Super Comp. I was like, screw it, I'll just spend the money. But really looking back at it, I was like, yeah, it's pretty expensive to shoot 30 Super Comp. That's for sure. But the cost effectiveness, 9 major, I know it's more 9 bang goes boom. But if you do everything right and be precautious, it will last a while. So
Hmm. Absolutely. Now,
plus, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to
no,
cut you
go
off. Well,
go right
yeah, what
ahead.
I mean by that is like I know some gun betters are like straight up like, yeah, 30 Super Comp, blah blah blah. I got it. We're in 2023 with advancements of technologies. We have cars that they can drive themselves. We have cars that can run on it's 87 octane with 600 horsepower. Those Dodge Challengers and stuff like those Demons. So if we have stuff like that, I'm pretty sure there's modern technology on the 2011 that could handle that type of abuse for a longer period of time than normal. So,
Hmm. Oh, absolutely. I agree with you on that. But oh yeah. So you've been shooting open pretty much, since you got into the sport, other than shooting carry optics for a little while.
mm-hmm.
Um, could you see yourself shooting any other division?
We'll see. Probably, I
Yeah.
would like to shoot. I don't know. Maybe shoot carry optics again. That'd be kind of cool. I would like to shoot an Ironside division, but that's later down the road. I
Hmm.
think I need to prove myself a little bit more on the open division, maybe some CO stuff, but then move on from there. You know,
Gotcha.
hmm
Now, how many majors have you shot this year?
this year I shot Florida State, the Doc Walt match. There's two local majors here. I shot Kentucky State. That's why I met you,
Hmm.
and I shot nationals.
Okay.
Hmm.
But yeah,
So
that bear
4.
trap that was spicy. That
Oh, dude, yeah, that was extremely spicy. Yeah, I saw that. I was like this, like This is gonna. I did a 15 split on that. I was like,
Hmm.
yeah, you need to be on it. Like as soon as that thing, like you aim, and as soon as you see brown, you pull the trigger.
Oh
So,
yeah, absolutely. This bear trap was so like that. And it does it hurts more. Like a miss on that target is not as bad as a alpha Mike no shoot. Like it is just
oh,
getting that second sight picture, and then by the time you take the sight picture, you're seeing white. The bullet's down there, it's white, and it's done, and
you know what's funny
it
is like
sucks.
I'll watch. Yeah, so John Moreau was on my squad, and he did
Mm-hmm.
like a perfect double there, and that's why I earned a lot. Like you earned a lot of my respect as an RO because you went in there
Mm-hmm.
and you did everything right. Like you got the overlay. I was like preaching for John. Yeah, there's two in there, dude. There's two in there, and
Mm-hmm.
you did a right overlay, and then you gave him the two alpha there, and it was funny because he actually had a record on his helmet, on his hat cam, and you could
Mm-hmm.
see like that gun was perfectly aimed on it. He didn't jerk the triggers. Literally, there was two in there. And again, back to the modern technology stuff
Mm-hmm.
is guns can do that these days. Like you could put two in
Mm-hmm.
the same hole. Like literally, it. That's how they are. They're super accurate. So, but big shout out to you for that, man. Because like it was a good. You scored it correctly, and most older. Some people are stuck in their ways type stuff. They would say alpha mic or something like that. But definitely there was two
Right.
in there.
Right. Well, and even with that, it's like you've got to look at it, and you got to give the shooter, even if it's not there, you got to give the shooter the day and be like, all right, well, let's go look at it. We'll go look at it together. We're gonna
Mm,
see what we can see instead of just be like, oh, it's not there. It's so because that wasn't the only almost perfect double I called on that target all
really, you got
weekend.
more than
There
there
was
was
a
a couple,
couple.
huh?
Yeah, but I mean that's why I was the seasoned CRO on the stage, and I'm like, all right, like I've got newer people with me, so they know the range commands. They were safe and they ran the shooters fine. But when it came to those, if he calls, I'm like, all right, let me waddle my ass over here and see what we got going on. So
Yeah, man.
no, but I enjoy being a range official. It's nice because I don't have to pay match fees, but it still costs me money to go down to a match and get
Yeah,
working.
yeah.
But I like going. I don't know. Hopefully, I'll be able to get back down to Leif's here in 24 for his match, depending on what else is around.
Yeah,
Because I think.
big shout out to the Helm. Like I'm
Mm-hmm.
from Florida. I went to Kentucky to shoot that match, and hey, that was a phenomenal match. If he listens to this podcast, hey, thumbs up to you, bro. That was a phenomenal match. It was greatly run. You got great staff. The stages were amazing. Like I just when I came back to Florida, I was telling you, hey man, you guys got to shoot Kentucky State. It is legit.
Right, because it's not. I mean, for you, it's still far because you live in Tampa, so it's still a far
Hmm.
way out of Florida before you even can get up there. But
Yeah, yeah, but it's still. I
he
mean,
does
you
put on a good match.
really good match. It was. I was like, damn, this shit's legit. I enjoyed
Mm-hmm.
every single of it. I mean, granted, it was different because like at the time, man, it was hot as hell here in Florida. So, and the
Mm-hmm.
UV index was crazy high. Obviously, you can see how tan I am. But you going to Kentucky is like the sun was totally different. I was like, oh wow. So this is the part. This is how far you got to go up north for it not to be like getting a sunburn. So,
Mm-hmm.
but I enjoyed my time there. I stayed in Lexington. It was really nice, and yeah, big kudos to you guys there. You guys ran a phenomenal match.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was a good one, and like I said, I hope to be back myself. It just depends. There's an area match that's getting closer to me, like from a different area. So I'm like, I don't know, do I want to go shoot that one or not? So we'll see.
So, what
Um,
area match you thinking about doing?
so next year, 24 area 8 is going to be in Greater Pittsburgh. For me, that's 5 hours from my house to the range. So it's
Mm,
and Kentucky is 6. So it's I'm saving an hour, but it's a level 3 match and more heat. It's because it's on the far west side of Area 8. When I'm coming out of Area 5, it's
Fair.
enticing.
I'll answer the question for you. Do Area 8. There we go.
See, that's the problem. I could do that, but I like supporting my buddy, and that's the hard part, right? Is the
Yeah, that's true. I mean, he's you gotta have your boys back.
right.
100%. I agree with that.
Hmm. But yeah,
But
so
you
you
gotta you. Oh, I'm sorry.
no
I don't mean to cut you off again. But you gotta you. We're talking right. So you
no.
gotta ask yourself as a shooter, what is it that you want to do? And honestly, I've never shot an area match, and next year I'm planning to shoot Area 6 or at least some area match. So
Hmm.
you know you gotta shoot. You gotta shoot these matches, dude. I got it that you want
Hmm.
to support your friends and stuff like that, but at some point you're gonna be like, all right, do I want to be I understand I want to give back to the sport, but do I want to? What's going to benefit me too? So
Hmm.
Maybe that's a question you have to ask yourself. Have a cigar or a drink and say, okay, what do I want to do? So,
Yeah. It'll pretty much, and then it'll pretty much come down to schedule availability of like what's going on at home, what's going on at
mhm.
work, which match fits into the schedule. So
Oh yeah, for
because
sure.
I got to fight six other people for vacation time, so it's usually in January. I've got my documentate my 10 pages of like here's my vacation requests.
No, yeah, dude. You're like, give me, I want it now. Oh, but such and such got this and that, and then there's the seniority stuff. I remember those days, so it wasn't
Hmm.
pretty.
Yeah, but then you said so you shot. This is your first nationals you shot, correct?
Oh yeah.
So what? How was that going into your first match? Did you feel super nervous or anxious, or were you excited to be there, or what?
Oh man, this is gonna piss some people off. Actually, I wasn't nervous at all. Not at all. The reason why I wasn't nervous is because, well, a couple things. We'll start with the first one is preparation. So
Hmm.
I planned to shoot nationals. I just said, hey, you know what, March, we're going for it. So basically every time I trained, it was really hard stuff at distance. So the whole entire match, there was a lot of far targets.
Hmm.
I mean, by far is like there was a lot of like 20 something yard targets, 20-yard poppers, hard cover, and all my practice sessions leading up to nationals. I mean, for months on end, was everything was at distance, and people were like, "Well, Alberto, why are you shooting things at distance?" I say because I want to make sure there's no fear. So fear is an optical illusion. It's an illusion. Fear is the
Hmm.
unknown, and the unknown will scare you. So we're going to eliminate all that from the get go. So targets at 30, 40 yards, shooting them and see what can I do and what can I get away with. So going into the match, none of the stuff there really scared me at all. Obviously, the first stage jitters, yeah, everyone has that,
Hmm.
but once the first stage went off, and like, okay, cool, it's just like any other match, really, just harder targets. There's two variables that I wish I could control a lot better, but it is what it is. So I didn't get any sleep at nationals at all. I got 3 hours
Hmm.
of sleep. 3 hours. Like I couldn't sleep at all. The hotel room I stayed at sucked. The bed was like a clump of I don't know, a clump of cotton, I guess you could say. I couldn't sleep. I was just tossing, turning everywhere. And then about 3 weeks before nationals, I sustained a hand injury, so I couldn't grip the gun very well. So those are the two variables I couldn't control. Before every stage, like when I was an on deck shooter, I got smelling salts to wake me up, to get back in the game, and a lot of conscious shooting. But it is what it is. You know what I mean? I had a great time in nationals. I think it was a phenomenal match. The stages were great. The staff was great, and it's definitely an experience you should. If you haven't shot nationals, and anybody listen to this podcast, you should do it. It is a
Hmm.
it's a good match. It really is. Now, does it feel like a national event? In my opinion, no, but the stages and the ROs, they're amazing. So, and you get to see all the cool, like the top dogs there. It was pretty awesome.
Hmm. Right, yeah, and you said you got to take a lot of cool pictures with a lot of the guys that you snagged pictures with, so that's kind of
Oh
cool.
yeah, it was really cool, man. Got to meet JJ Rakaza in person, talked to him for a little bit, talked to Christian Seiler, met Brendan Conaway. Met a
Hmm.
lot of top shooters. Had some good
So
conversations. Oh yeah, go ahead.
no, go ahead, you're fine. Go right ahead.
Oh no, just met good conversations with a lot of great people. You will meet the most amount of people in the shooting sport at nationals.
Hmm.
You
Well,
will.
and then you met JJ, but JJ is like from that area, isn't he? From
He
your
lives in
area?
right. He lives in Odessa, Florida. So that's where is he? From like 30, 45 minutes away from me. Not too far away. It's more west of us in Tampa. But yeah, he's in the area. But he's always training or doing something. So you
Hmm.
don't really cross paths with the man a lot. He's a busy dude like everyone else on this planet. So
Right. So you said coming up to the match, have a lot of hard practice, farther targets, far steel kind of stuff to get ready for nationals, to be prepared for it. Was that abnormally? Well, I mean, the distance probably was abnormal, but was your practice um, range trips the same, or did you build up to that?
no, I just started. Well, first of all, I started with working on basic fundamental stuff. So basically, distance, like grip, trigger, and what can I get away with. And then basically, it's like I've heard this from many top shooters. It's like you want a golf, not golf ball size group. That's insane. Softball size group at distance. So that was my goal. It's like, all right, if I had 30 yards an IPSC target or a USPSA metric target, can I do a softball size group? And I could. So that was my first goal, and then from there, a lot of discipline shooting. So seeing a small portion of the target and don't shoot into the sight, sit there, stuff like that. So, but like I said, I hurt my hand about 3 weeks before nationals. I had a hard time gripping the gun, so I had to learn kind of a new grip before going into nationals, and it kind of affected like some of my shooting speed and some of my accuracy as well. But it did. I mean, I shot the match pretty well for my first nationals. I'm pretty happy with the result. So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Yeah. So going into next year, what are some goals you have for next year?
Well, for shooting.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm. Well, I'm a firm believer that you should do things that will benefit, like supplement your life. So shooting is a part of my life. It's not the life. So with shooting, I fixed my physical fitness. I had a lot of knee pain and back injury stuff, and I fixed all that through physical fitness. And I developed a high level of discipline doing those things. So shooting saved my life, I guess you could say. It made me back to a pretty athletic guy and stuff like that. So shooting goals next year would be just don't really push just get better. That's it. Like just enjoy the
Mm-hmm.
process, and then whatever the process takes me, I'll enjoy the fruits of that labor.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, yeah. And as you said, make sure getting out, getting in the activity that you really need, to make your life better and be able to be here on this planet longer than most people, right? I mean, luckily enough,
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sorry. I keep cutting you.
you're all good.
I'm
Luckily,
acting
I
like
was
this is
about
my
to,
podcast.
right? Luckily enough, you live in Florida, so you don't have to snowbird anywhere. You're just gonna live in Florida, right?
Yeah,
When
that's
you
true.
get old and decrepit, you just get to live there.
No, I mean, if to that point, I was just live in a small island or something like that. But, or I don't know. Who knows where I'll go? But yeah, I mean, I'm. You should count W's throughout the day. You ever heard that term before?
Oh yeah, yep. Small little victories. Yep.
Yeah. So like, the most common victory that nobody really talks about is waking up. Like when you
Yeah.
wake up in the morning, that's the first W. That's the first win of the day. Be grateful that you're alive, and then you take a deep breath, and then the next one is getting up, and then the next one's put on your clothes, the next one is taking a shower, the next one's to brushing your teeth. All those you start collecting W's throughout the day, and then if you maintain those things, like let's say you have I work out in the morning, so I'll wake up at 3, then at 4 I'm at the gym, and then at 5 I'm done, then I get ready for work, then I go to work, get everything going in the shop. I work until 5. Then after 5, I go home and I do some small stuff here and there at the house I need to get done. And by the time I sit down for the end of the day, I feel accomplished. Like I've done more than 90% of Americans would do all day. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So many W's are like, oh, okay, cool. And then when you start doing stuff like that and you start maintaining discipline and stuff like that, your chest gets pumped out more. You stand up straighter. You're going to be more productive at work. You're going to make more money because the boss is like, oh, wow, Berto's like doing this because he's just running circles over people because things become easier. And then now with the things become easier, you can do the tougher challenges in life. So that's what I tell a lot of people. They think I'm crazy sometimes, but it's like, look, listen, it's all about collecting W's throughout the day. So the most W's you can at the end of the day, and then you feel accomplished. When you sit there, you're done. You're like, all right, I've tackled everything. So, and you'll feel a lot better about yourself. You just it just continues on, and before you know it, you're just a badass.
Right. Absolutely. And then you go and continue to succeed by doing all those little things.
For sure, 100%.
That's pretty cool. Now, 2024. What do you said you're gonna shoot your first area match hopefully in 24. How many majors are you looking to shoot that year?
Yeah, I don't know yet. We got to see that schedule come out first.
Right.
Dude, literally like the last couple of weeks, all these state championships and sectionals were going on after nationals. That was kind of weird because I remember last year it wasn't like that. At least I don't
hmm
remember it like that.
Right. Well, what was it? Also, it seemed like nationals was also like open nationals was in October or something.
I think it was early in
Be-
October. Yeah.
right. So it'd be So next week. Well, by the time we're recording this, nationals will have already had happened. Well, by the time this airs, I should say, nationals, limited optics nationals will already have happened. But
No, no, handgun nationals, handgun.
no, no, it's limited optics nationals
It's
time.
limited
But
office nationals.
I mean, but everyone wants a division, right? Like
Hmm.
Like they want it, they're gonna shoot it. But I mean, for you and me, we're gonna shoot open division because
Right.
that's where the cool people are at. The diehards who love hearing expensive boom booms.
Oh yeah, they're very expensive boom booms. But you know what? I have a lot of respect for all the other divisions. They all have a unique characteristics to them that make them extremely difficult. Like people dog PCC a lot. I used to be kind of one of those guys, but then you really think about it, it's like you're lugging around a 16-inch rifle, like barrel, and you're pushing it in and out and maneuvering the stage. That's pretty tough on its own.
Hmm.
You
Oh
know,
yeah,
or
and
you know, you
it adds a complexity to the match that other people don't have to worry about.
no, exactly. And you're lugging this big heavy thing around, and yeah, granted, you don't get the reload, and it's I think it might be a little easier to shoot, but there's too much things going on. Same thing if you shoot production, you have all those magazines to worry about, or you shoot limited, you so on and so forth. Every division has their unique characteristics that makes them that particular division. So um, we'll see what happens with this handgun. Excuse me, limited optics nationals.
You
We'll
know
see
that's what
how.
it is. But
Yeah,
it's sad to say there's only 4 limited 10 shooters, but yeah,
I've
10
only
limited
seen.
10.
Yeah, I've only ever seen limited 10 when there's like a low cap nationals coming on, and then like, oh yeah, I gotta shoot 10 round magazines this week because I'm going to um, low cap nats. Or like, oh wow, that's pretty
Hmm.
interesting. But yeah, that's a dead division for
Yeah,
sure.
it is, and it's unfortunate. I mean, maybe eventually they'll turn it into something else or make it something where it's worthwhile for more people to shoot. But we'll see. We'll
Let's
absolutely
see.
see that. They'll decide what they're gonna do. But
I think limited
so.
optics is going to be like the next big thing because everyone's
Mhm.
doing it right now. And once you see a first nationals where there's a clear winner and it's a top guy, they're like, oh, I want to do that too. So, and there's a
Right.
lot of 9mm 2011 guns all around, and people want to shoot them. So,
Hmm. Absolutely. I mean, I would love to have a 2011 slide ride for limited optics, but open's where my heart's at, and that's where I'm gonna. Major power factor has the greatest appeal, and nobody ever wants to admit it. But I love open major power factor.
well, it's simple. You could trade Charlies for time. That's pretty
Hmm.
much what it is. Like, if you really think about
Right.
it, that's what the division is designed to do. It's the fastest division, so it should be that way.
Hmm. Well, and
People,
my my favorite thing, honestly, is you really on those partials. It's like, okay, there's a Charlie there. We're good. I don't care. Moving on.
it's 4 points. Let's go.
Right. And then people are like, this is bullshit. I shot the same type of, I same the same alphas and Charlies as you, and roughly the same time, but I lost. I'm like,
Oh
but you're
man,
shooting minor. You lost two
yeah,
more points.
yeah. Well, yeah, that too. It's like why you want to go against an open shooter? You should go
Hmm.
against another carry shooter, or if you shoot production, you shoot another production shooter. Like that. That's like have a Honda Civic with hold on, not even a Honda. You have a Kia, and you go against a Ferrari in a drag race. Like, don't make any sense.
Right. Absolutely. Never makes any sense. But
No.
But what's cool is when you do it gets people sparked to train or to go out and shoot and go get better because they want to go try to beat me. And I will say this: I am not the best shooter yet, but it's a great day when they're like, I'm coming for you. I'm like, okay, buddy, let's go.
No, you have a
Put your big
lot
boy
of
pants on and put the gas on.
yeah. No, I see a lot of your videos. You're getting there. That's for sure.
Hmm.
You definitely want to get better, and I see there's massive improvements for sure. So
Hmm.
just stay the path, and you're gonna reap the fruits of your labor. So pretty soon.
Hmm. 100%. Well, Alberto, we're near the end of our time that we've got for today. I've got a
Oh
few more
shit.
questions, but
Yeah. Let
I've
me
had a
shut the
blast
hell
so far. Yeah,
up.
they
Maybe.
the wife kind of shuts the power off a little bit because it's she's like dinner's on the way. I'm like, oh, okay, so I guess I do need to hurry the hell up.
Yeah.
So uh, if there is something that current Alberto could tell past Alberto about shooting, what would it be?
Hmm. First, bird over. All right. Yeah. Learn how to shoot the gun first.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, literally, all the top guys that they know their gun. So, I just learn how to shoot it. That's it. What I mean by that is like learn everything about that particular firearm and how it reacts into your hand, and then fix it. Learn do not thousands of rounds, but figure it out, and then once you become extremely proficient with it going bang, and then you'll save you a lot of headaches for
Mm-hmm.
sure.
Oh, absolutely. I agree. Go out there, go play with it, test it, develop your load. Figure out what you need to do to make the gun return, or vice versa. inside and out before you make sure the gun, the gun's broken in, right? Like for us
Mm-hmm.
with 2011s, like make sure the gun's gonna run before you take it to a match, and then struggle your way through the match because the gun's so tight you can't get anything going with it. Yeah, so I
Oh
agree.
yeah.
I agree on that statement 100%.
Mm-hmm.
But also oh, damn it. I don't know if you do or not, but I asked this question to every my guest. Do you have any sponsors that you want to pimp?
I don't. I'm pretty average
Oh,
Joe guy. No sponsors
yeah.
here, but I will say like, mm, no, I got no sponsors. No, unfortunately, I'm
Yeah.
not that cool.
So then, any people in the sport you want to kick back to, for helping you out or mentorship through the sport as you're coming up?
Yeah, yeah, it's definitely some people. So big shout out to Brennan Conaway. When I was
Mm-hmm.
shooting carry optics, and I follow him on Instagram, and he messaged me one time and said, "Hey, do you have a coach?" I was like, "No, not really. I mean, I have a friend of mine I shoot with. And, are you better than him?" I was like, "Oh yeah, kind of." So all right, dude. It's he offered a little service to me. He said, "Hey, I could break down your videos," and he did. So really detailed stuff, and we fixed a lot of things that was pretty cool. Like and have some big mentorship. That's one. Another one I want to say is Mike Howell. He's a range master here at the Wyoming Antelope Club, and he's mentored me a lot as well. So with being an RO and being a shooter, and he's helped me out a lot. So those two for sure.
Well, that's pretty cool. Now, I guess this is the part where if you want to actually get talked to on the internet, where can they find you if they want to hit you up?
Yeah, you can find me on Instagram, Alberto underscore VO5 USPSA. You can hit me up there. That's pretty much it. My Facebook is private. That's for my personal life. But when it comes to shooting and stuff, you can find me there. Mm-hmm.
That's pretty cool. Well, Alberto, brother, I appreciate you coming on and telling me all these stories. We're gonna have to do it again because there's so many stories we didn't even touch on that we're gonna have
It
to
should be
figure
a
out
part
time.
two to this one
Oh, there definitely should be. We'll fit one in at some point.
for
But
sure, dude.
brother, I appreciate you coming on, and to the listeners, get out and do the things, and I'll see you on the next one.
Peace out.